Om Namo Bhagavate Shivanandaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Shivanandaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Shivanandaya. Hari Om. The hidden power latent in a mantra. Mantra chanting and Liki Japa. Japa Yoga. Hari Om, dear brothers and sisters and spiritual darlings. I trust that you and your family are doing well during these most difficult times. The pandemic that we are experiencing is very deadly, and we have lost many lives. Some close to us, be it family, friends, neighbors, or someone you know. In these challenging times, only one thing can help us, and that is God's beautiful name. Apart from all the other regulations like social distancing, wearing a mask, and sanitizing. Pujya Swamiji has given us all the tools to fight this pandemic and be safe. Mantra chanting is one of the most powerful tools that we can use to fight this pandemic. The hidden power that is latent in a mantra can change the world. It can protect you from diseases, calamities, and accidents. Pujya Swamiji has told us that chanting of the Sri Hanuman Chalisa, Mahamrityunjaya mantra, and performing Agnihotra will protect us from diseases, calamities, and accidents. It does not mean that we will become immune to it, but it won't affect us as much as it was supposed to have affected us. Say, for instance, you are traveling on the road, and suddenly a car just misses you and an accident is avoided. What's the first thing you say? Thank God. It was your faith in God that helped you avoid that accident. But how did you build that faith? What gave you that belief that it was God that helped you? It was merely the chanting of Lord's name and having God's name on your lips all the time that saved you from this accident. So what is a mantra? Mantra simply means the repetition of God's name. This is also known as japa. As this is a proven method capable of uniting us wholly with God, it is yoga, hence the term Japa Yoga, which means the science by which we attain spiritual perfection by simply repeating the divine name of the Lord. The highest goal of life is to attain God realization, and one such method of attaining this is through Japa Yoga or mantra chanting. There is a spiritual power that lies within all of us, waiting to be unlocked by the power of the divine name. It is a power that can bestow upon you eternal peace, bliss, and freedom, and eventually lead you to direct union with the Almighty. We have spoken about the divine name, but let us take a closer look at the name of God and repeating it constantly, and let us study the name itself. Let us study its form, the vibrations it produces, and how these vibrations can create peace and harmony and change the world. Now we have established constant repetition of God's name is called mantra chanting, right? So if we take the word mantra, it has two syllables, man and tra, which means to think and to protect or free. Thus, mantra is that word of thinking of which we are freed from bondage to worldly life. The mantra, which was given to us by great rishis who did immense meditation. These mantras was revealed to the rishis by God himself. So you can see that the name has great power as it came directly from God himself. So what power does each mantra have? Each god or deity has its own mantra, and each mantra has a specific power. For instance, if we take Lord Ganesha's mantra, which is Om Ganeshaya Namaha. This mantra removes all obstacles that stand in the way of success in any task. All invocations usually begin with the Ganesh mantra. Similarly, the Lakshmi mantra confers upon us wealth and divine qualities. The Mahamrityunjaya mantra And the Sri Hanuman Chalisa has its own power. And you can read about the divine mantras and its power in Yoga Lessons for Children, Volume 4, which is in page 151. Also, you will find that the different mantras for each deity in Hindu fast and festivals. Gurudev says, and I quote, "What joy the repetition of the divine name brings! What great power it infuses into man! How it changes the human nature quickly and miraculously! How it lifts man to the status of divinity! How it destroys all sins, subtle desires, thoughts, whims, fancies, depressing moods, and evil desires! The divine name has marvelous powers. This power can be known and felt only when we repeat it constantly with supreme faith and devotion. God's name is sweeter than all sweet things. It is holier than all holy things. It is purer than all pure things. It has the amazing power of bringing us face to face with God and making us realize our oneness with the Lord through supreme love and devotion. Whether it is chanted correctly or incorrectly, carefully or carelessly, the divine name is sure to bring the desired result. The glory of the name cannot be known through reason and intellect. It can be realized and felt only through devotion, faith, and constant repetition. The power of the name is without limit. Its glory cannot be fully described. Its secret is beyond human understanding. Just as fire has the natural power of burning objects, so also the name of God has the natural power of destroying sins, evil thoughts, and hidden desires, and of granting eternal bliss and everlasting peace and happiness to those that repeat it. Who can describe the glory of God's sacred name? Who can understand the greatness and splendor of the holy names of the Lord? This brings me to a story about how Mother Parvati decided to know the simplest way to utter the 1008 names of Lord Vishnu. So Lord Ishwar replied that merely chanting the name Rama Rama is equivalent to chanting the 1008 names. Such is the power, grandeur, and significance of the divine name. But brothers and sisters, we must also be reminded that this is only possible if the person who utters the name has extreme intense devotion and bhav. Speaking of intense faith and devotion, this reminds me of a story in the Ramayana when the bridge was being built, so that Lord Rama and the Varana tribe could cross the sea to reach Lanka. You would remember that rocks was used to construct this bridge, but what happens when you place rocks in the water? It sinks, right? But here, these rocks did not sink, but it floated. How was this possible? Was these magical rocks? Was these rocks not heavy? Was it light like feathers that it was able to float? So what was the secret? The secret lay in the power of the Lord's name. Before placing each rock in the water, Sri Ram was written on each rock, and each Varana chanted the Sri Ram mantra before placing the rock in the water. So here too we see the power of the Lord's name. Of course, if you and I try this now, it might not work. Or if your bhav and your devotion is great, it might work. But the reason why it worked then was that the rocks was placed with great devotion and with great faith. And of course, Lord Rama himself was present to witness this and shower his Shakti on each rock. If you look at what happened when Lord Rama himself placed the rock in the water, it sank because the name Ram was not written on the rock. So what is the benefits of doing japa or mantra chanting. How do we tap the great power of the divine name? How can we experience for ourselves the greatness and splendor of the divine name? The answer lies in its constant repetition. Constant repetition strengthens our self-belief. All the hidden powers of God's name become available to us only when we begin to repeat it constantly. Repetition of the name produces a great influence on the mind. It changes the mental substance, overhauls the old vicious impressions, removes our evil nature, and grants us the vision of God. There is absolutely no doubt about this. Dear brothers and sisters, Gurudev says, do not be proud of secular learning. Do not let your scientific brain delude you into believing the value of Japa Yoga. Open your eyes. Chant His name always. Sing. Do kirtan. Repeat the name with feeling and love from the bottom of your heart and realize the supreme bliss, peace, knowledge and freedom right now in this very birth. The purpose of repeating the name constantly is to have the remembrance of the Lord always. We can remember God all the time by earnestly and sincerely repeating His name. It is only when we remember Him that we become perfectly free and we are able to face all difficulties and obstacles. During japa, there should be pure and intense devotion to God. We should drive away all worldly thoughts from the mind and fill it with thoughts of God alone. Struggle, exert, remain absorbed in Him. You will enjoy peace and bliss. Even mere mechanical repetition of God's name will have a great effect. The vibrations set up in the mind by doing japa will purify the mind without you knowing it. When you repeat the divine name with full attention, and if the effect will be great. The process of purification will be great. During japa, all the divine qualities steadily flow into the mind from the Lord, just as oil flows from one vessel to another. Japa thus fills the mind with pure, holy thoughts. Worldly thoughts are driven out by the gatekeeper, japa, who guards your mind. You are familiar with the saying, as a man thinketh, he becometh. Japa strengthens the good impressions of the mind. The mind of japa yogis dwells constantly on good thoughts. In this manner, his entire character is changed. Finally, japa is a tremendous tonic and powerful remedy for all diseases. It is spiritual food for the hungry soul. I'm going to repeat this. Japa is a tremendous tonic and a powerful remedy for all diseases. It is a spiritual food for the hungry soul. So Gurudev is telling us, he's giving us the answer here, and he's telling us that japa or mantra chanting is the remedy for all diseases. As I said earlier, we are going through this pandemic, coronavirus, and only one thing can help us, and that is mantra chanting. And if we have intense faith and devotion in the Lord, then we can beat this disease. Now, we have said a great deal about the power of the name of God. Let us now look at the name itself and study its form, its various parts, the vibrations it produces, and how these vibrations can exact science. Mantra repetition produces in the mind the form of the deity. This form becomes the center of awareness when we realize it directly. It is therefore said that the mantra and the deity are not different. By constant repetition of the mantra, we can acquire all the virtues and power of the deity presiding in that mantra. Mantra takes the form of praise and appeals to deities asking for their help and mercy. So, by chanting God's name, the deities themselves make themselves present. This is how powerful mantra is. There is also a mantra for curing scorpion stings, cobra bites, and chronic diseases, for getting a child, in getting prosperity and attaining liberation, and for all other purposes. So you can see again, brothers and sisters, that mantra chanting is so powerful that it can cure stings, cobra bites, chronic diseases, right? As we're going through now again, coronavirus, and also for prosperity and attaining liberation. Some of the mantras are given in our prayer book, as I mentioned earlier, in Yoga Lessons for Children, Volume 4, and also in Hindu fast and festivals. The mantra power should not be utilized for harming others. Important. One who uses the power in this way will himself be destroyed in the end. Very important, you see. So mantras should not be used for the wrong purposes, especially not harming others. Because what happens in the end? You yourself will be destroyed. Those who use sacred mantras to cure patients should not accept money or gifts from the persons so cured. Another important fact. Their power will get lost or diminished if they use the mantra for selfish purposes. Again, if using the mantra for selfish purposes, then the mantra itself loses its power. So we must not, and especially do not accept gifts and money for doing mantra chanting. If they use it selfishly, and as worshipped by the Lord, the power will increase through His grace. The most important factor in Japa Yoga is that the repetition of the mantra should be made constant and unbroken. Then the power inherent in the mantra will manifest quickly. Glory of mantra Diksha. The sacred Vedic mantras have been handed down to us from ancient times, which was given to the rishis by God Himself, as I said earlier. Through the centuries and generations after generation, right up until the present modern age, the sacred mantras have been carefully handed down to us by a long and unbroken succession of saints through the system called Guru Parampara. Guru Parampara is Guru-disciple lineage. Now, the Guru mantra received from one's Guru is called Guru Mantra. The Guru mantra should not be revealed to others. It loses some of its effect if you do so. It is better to receive a mantra from a Guru who is guiding you on the spiritual path. Or you can choose your own mantra but stick to that one mantra. This is called mantra Diksha. A Guru is absolutely necessary since the spiritual path is beset with many snares and obstacles and difficulties. Serve the Guru with intense devotion. Have the attitude that Guru is none other than God Himself. Obey Him implicitly. His word must be gospel truth to you. It is said, Mantra Moolam Gurura Vakyam. The Guru's words are the mantra. Only a mantra given by a God-realized Guru will have a great effect on the aspirant. Having a Guru, as we can see, having a Guru is very important to us. And we are very fortunate in Divine Life Society to not only have one Guru, but we had two Gurus. We have Gurudev, Swami Shivananda, and our Chota Guru, Swami Sahajananda. We are indeed blessed to have seen and heard Puja Swamiji impart valuable knowledge upon us. We would be ultimate fools if we do not heed Puja Swamiji's advice. Swamiji has always said that we must not take Gurudev lightly. Gurudev is the ultimate Guru. He is God Himself. We are fortunate to have lived amongst great saints in the stature of Swami Shivananda and Swami Sahajananda. And for, most of us are not fortunate to have seen Gurudev Swami Shivananda in his physical form. But we had the fortune of seeing Swami Sahajananda in his form. And Gurudev was very kind to have given us Swami Sahajananda in this birth. Japa has other forms. One is where you're chanting it, and the other form is where you are writing it. So the form of writing mantras is called Likhit Japa. So what is Likhit Japa? Likhit Japa is mantra writing. Of the different methods of japa, this form is very effective. It helps us to attain attention of the mind and gradually leads to meditation. The eye, the hand, and the mind are all engaged during Likhit Japa. Likhit Japa is not restricted to any particular language. It may be written in any language. Great spiritual benefits are derived from Likhit Japa. Concentration of the mind is easily attained. Likhit Japa is a very pleasant and an easy method of spiritual practice for both children and for adults. Write the mantra in a notebook without hurry, with attention and with love. Now, Likhit Japa is quite a serious thing to do. So these are the following rules that must be observed during Likhit Japa. I will go through them quickly. First, select a mantra. Write it in ink in a book, in any script from 1 to 3 pages a day. Regularity and punctuality must be observed. This in itself will bring the required help and be of the utmost benefit to you. Sit in the same place at the same time daily. Have a wash before sitting. An effort should be made to keep the mind pure during the practice. Sit in one pose all the time and for as long as possible. This will increase the power of endurance. Observe silence during practice. Fix the eyes entirely on the writing. Fix the mind on the form and attributes of the Lord while writing. So think about the Lord while you are writing the Lord's name. Repeat the mantra mentally while writing. Soon your whole mind will be fixed on the mantra. Fix a particular number of mantras for each sitting. Once you start, do not leave the practice. Do the daily quota, set aside other tasks. Write in a uniform system from top to bottom or from left to right. The whole mantra should be written with continuity. Do not break in the middle when you come to the end of the line. Do not change the mantra. Keep the book in a clean place. Brothers and sisters, Divine Life Society has embarked on a Japa Yajna in commemoration of our centenary celebrations. So far, we have received millions of Likhit Japa figures, but we want to invite you, brothers and sisters, who have not pledged to be part of this Yajna, to do so. You can either contact your local branch official or Divine Life Society headquarters to inquire about how to join, and I'm sure they will gladly assist you. Don't miss out on this opportunity. All the above information was taken from Yoga Lessons for Children, Volume 4. Now I will do some reading from Path of Divine Grace, Words of Wisdom by Sri Swami Shivananda. It's also on mantra chanting. When you repeat the mantra, you should not repeat it for worldly purpose. We might have worries, we might have troubles, we might have financial difficulties, and we'll naturally repeat the mantra. But we should not ask God to remove our troubles. We should ask Him to give us strength to bear it. The mantras will give you whatever you want. You will agree that you cannot complain that you don't have time to do mantra japa. Even if you don't have time in the morning and in the evening, you do have time in the daytime. I don't think anyone is mentally engaged for all hours of the day. You have you do have pauses. At night, when you turn around in your bed, you can repeat the mantra. Gurudev says you can keep a mala with you. You can prop up your pillow and say the mantra. Every opportunity must be utilized. It should not be missed. I said earlier that we should not expect a revolution. Nothing must be forced. You must do the mantra with a cheerful mind. The mind shouldn't be forced beyond its capacity. You should not feel too much of pain, but you should do it gently. That was from Path of Divine Grace, Volume 4. By chanting the 4 Vedas, the name of Rama, which is pure nectar, was brought out to quench the afflictions of ignorant souls. Drink it again and again by constant repetition. Ram Nam is the essence and true substance of the 4 Vedas. The name of the Lord is unfailing source of strength. In the darkest hour of your trial, when you are faced with all kinds of problems, only God's all-powerful name will save you. It is the only remedy that will not fail one. Success is granted. That was taken from Path of Divine Grace, Volume 1. You will have to chant Ram Nam incessantly, and that bliss will come. The saints say that we must give God quantity, and then He will give us quality. The bliss that comes from God's name will only come from God. But you can give God quality and nothing is wasted. Every repetition of God's name will take you towards Him. Every attendance at satsangs will protect you. You might not know how it works, but it will work. That was from Path of Divine Grace, Volume 2. Constant repetition of Ram Nam or any other mantra in the morning and throughout the day is a must for all. Constant repetition of the divine name is the only way to get peace of mind and strength and to face all trials, problems, and difficulties. Any number of articles of our Divine Master on the power and glory of the divine name has been published. Daily morning japa and prayer should form the keynote of our lives of all devotees. That was from Path of Divine Grace, Volume 1. This brings me to the end of my presentation. I trust that each and every one of us will increase our daily japa, and we will increase our likhit japa also, as this will benefit not only us, but will benefit the entire world, and we will be able to free ourselves from any disease and calamities. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Hari Om. We now have a short reading followed by a video presentation by our spiritual darlings from grade 0 to 3 and grade 4 to 7 groups. As you will see in this presentation, our spiritual darlings represent the following deities: Mother Saraswati, Mother Parvati, Mother Ganga, King Bhagirath, Lord Shiva, a devotee, Swami Shivananda, and Puja Swami Sahajananda. It is entitled The Glory of Mother Ganga.
Maiya, O Ganga Maiya, Maiya, O Ganga Maiya, Maiya, O Ganga Maiya, Maiya, O Ganga Maiya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Shivanandaya. The glory of Ganga. Salutations and adorations to the Holy Mother Ganga. Ganga is the most sacred river in India. For a Hindu, the word Ganga or Ganges has its own sacred association. Every Hindu thirsts for a dip in the Ganga and for a drop of her water at the time of his death. Aspirants and mendicants build their huts along the banks of the Ganga for practicing penance and meditation. Bhishma spoke very highly of the glory of Ganga in his parting instructions to the Pandavas from his bed of arrows. In the Satya Yuga, all the places were sacred. In the Treta Yuga, Pushkara was considered the most holy place. In the Dwapara Yuga, Kurukshetra was regarded as the most sacred place. In Kali Yuga, Ganga has that glory. Devi Bhagavatam says, "He who utters the name of Ganga, even from hundreds of miles afar, is freed from sins and attains the abode of Lord Hari." Ganga is known by various names as Bhagirathi, brought by Bhagiratha, Jahnavi, let out by Janu, etc. Sri Sankara, in his praise of Mother Ganga, accounts for her origin thus. In the beginning, Ganga occupied the vessel Kamandalu, in which Lord Brahma performed his daily ablution. Then she flowed down, washing the feet of Lord Vishnu. Adorning the head of Lord Shiva, she finally came down to earth as the daughter of Janu. Glory to Mother Ganga. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
On this auspicious day of Ganga Saptami, thousands of devotees visit Haridwar and Rishikesh every year and take a dip in the sacred Ganga. They light lamps and offer flowers. They have great faith in Mother Ganga. It is believed that by taking a bath in the Ganga river, all the sins of the people will be washed away.
Ganga is the form of Vishnu. Her sight is so sturdy. She flows in the valleys and lives by the side of Parvati. How beautiful she is when she flows in the valley of Rishikesh.
All glory be unto Mother Ganga, the giver of life, light and love. The Ganga is the most holiest river and is treated like mother. Ganga is the goddess of purification and holiness.
King Bhagirath did great penance to wash off the curse of sage Kapila. The 60,000 sons of King Sagar were cursed. He was asked to pray to Mother Ganga, who could wash off the powerful curse. King Bhagirath did great penance. Mother Ganga was pleased and appeared before him.
The whole world would have been destroyed in Mother Ganga's waters. At the request of King Bhagirath, Lord Shiva agreed to hold Mother Ganga in his halo. With a surge of fury and foam, Mother Ganga began to descend. Lord Shiva calmly received her in his matted locks. This is called Ganga Saptami Day.
Ganga Saptami is one of the most auspicious days in the Hindu calendar for us devotees. There are celebrations across the country. Sri Gurudev's love and compassion are boundless. He wanted to give us a gift and Ganga was the gift. There was a time when Ganga was faced with a problem that all the sinners would fill her holy waters with their sinful bodies. She went to King Bhagiratha, who replied, "O Mother, holy saints were bathed in Ganga and rid you of all these sins because Lord Vishnu dwells in their hearts."
Sri Swami Shivananda loved Mother Ganga. In his early days, He would get a bit for him. Even in winter, he would enter waist-deep waters of Mother Ganga. Pujari Swami Sahajananda says, "We in the Divine Life Society are the most fortunate in the world to have Ganga at Reservoir Hills and SICC Lamesi. We can receive the blessings of Ganga at Gangarani, Bhagirati, Yamuna and Saraswati."
The Ganges River, or Mother Ganga as she is known to her people, inseparably bound to India's culture and religion, worshipped by 1 billion people as a mother who sustains life, a goddess who cleanses sins. The timeless Vedic scriptures tell of her origin. From the divine waters in the spiritual realm, Ganga entered the universe and washed the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Vishnu before descending to earth. Thus, her inexplicably pure water. At her shores, humble pilgrims pray that her purity wash away their impurity. Join them, along with saints and heroes, gods and goddesses past and present, who have been cleansed by her mercy. Dive deeply. Allow your heart to be carried away by the waters of Mother Ganga.
Hari Om, dear camp participants. Thank you for tuning into our Yoga Camp online lessons. Please note that satsang will commence at 11 a.m. and a WhatsApp link will be sent to you shortly. Om.